Hello viewers, welcome to our daily V News. Up next are the headlines. Government discusses socio-economic performance in 5 months. Vietnam enhances cooperative ties with Timor-Leste and Indonesia. Program helps international friends explore Vietnam. On June 2nd, the government continued its regular monthly meeting, focusing on the socio-economic performance in May and over the recent 5 months of 2016, as well as measures to ensure the development goals in 2016 approved by the National Assembly.
A Ministry of Planning and Investment report shows that in May, the Consumer Price Index increased 0.54% compared to the previous month, and up 1.88% against December last year. The index in May witnessed a year-on-year increase of 2.28%. May's index of industrial production rose 2.4% against the previous month. The total retail sales and service revenue in 5 months hiked up 9.1% against the same period last year. The trade surplus reached $1.36 billion, equal to 2% of the export turnover. The area of labor, employment, social security, and welfare gained positive achievements. The Ministry of Planning and Investment proposed measures to curb inflation and stabilize the macroeconomy, to boost production and exports and control imports. Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc highlighted difficulties and challenges such as high inflation rate, obstacles in production and manufacturing, and low growth in industry, agriculture, and services. The government's leader emphasized the effort to strictly implement the tasks of 2016, with no change to development goals. He asked cabinet members to discuss measures to stabilize the macroeconomy and ensure high growth rate.
Deputy Prime Minister Trịnh Đình Dũng and leaders of Timor-Leste and Indonesia discussed ways to strengthen ties between Vietnam and the two nations at the meetings on the sidelines of the ongoing World Economic Forum on ASEAN in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on June 2nd. At the meeting with Timor-Leste Prime Minister Rui Maria de Araújo, Deputy Prime Minister Dũng suggested the two sides enhance the exchange of all-level visits, actively implement the SALT agreement, and consider negotiating and signing cooperation agreements on crime prevention, judicial assistance, extradition, and investment protection. He proposed Timor-Leste soon complete its procedures, enabling the trade agreement signed by the two countries in 2013 to take effect as soon as possible, and promote rice trading in the coming time. Araújo said his country is facilitating Vietnamese enterprises, business and investment, affirming that Timor-Leste will continue creating favorable conditions for Vietnamese firms to operate in oil and gas exploration and food trading. Deputy Prime Minister Dũng and Indonesian Vice President Yusuf Kala focused the discussion on measures to promote strategic partnership between the two nations. The two leaders agreed that solidarity and cooperation within ASEAN should be fostered, thus promoting the bloc's central role in the region. They held that all disputes in the East Sea should be solved by peaceful means, and involved parties need to engage in negotiations to finalize a code of conduct in the East Sea as soon as possible. In his reception for Vincent Eck, CEO in charge of global strategy of Swiss Reinsurance on the same day, Deputy Prime Minister Dũng said the Vietnamese government encourages Swiss groups to expand investment in Vietnam, especially in high technology and high value-added services. National Assembly Vice Chairwoman Tam Thị Phóng met with Deputy Speaker of the House of Commons Eleanor Lying and Chairman of the All-Party Parliamentary Groups George Howard on June 1st as part of her working visit to the UK. At the meeting, Deputy Speaker Eleanor Lying underscored the significance of legislative ties between the two countries to bilateral relations and pledged more assistance for Vietnam. Vice Chairwoman Pham has called for the support of British parliamentarians so that the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement will soon be approved by the UK, thus creating a new impetus for economic links between Vietnam and the EU as well as with the UK. Pham used the occasion to thank the UK government for providing official development assistance for Vietnam over the past years. She called for more aid from the country via the Commonwealth Fund in the bid to improve the local business environment, cope with climate change, and develop infrastructure. Later in the day, Pham met with the staff of the Vietnamese Embassy and overseas Vietnamese in the UK. During her visit to the UK from May 29th to June 3rd, the Vice Chairwoman is scheduled to meet with Duke of York Prince Andrew. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs hosted a press conference in Hanoi on June 2nd. More details coming up next. Foreign Ministry spokesman Lê Hải Bình said the ASEAN China senior officials meeting on the implementation of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea will be held on June 9th in the northern province of Quảng Ninh. One day earlier, a special level meeting of the ASEAN China Joint Working Group will take place. He said this is a regular meeting aiming to foster the implementation of the declaration and finalization of a code of conduct in the East Sea. At the conference, spokesman Bình also said Vietnam hosts the G7 Summit's declaration on the East Sea, committing to ensuring security, safety, maritime and aviation freedom, and respect for international law. A program was held in Hanoi on June 2nd to help foreign diplomats, ambassadors, heads of delegations, and international organizations' representatives better the understanding of Vietnam.
Deputy Foreign Minister Lê Hoài Trung said the annual event provides information on the history, culture, economy, society, political system, and state apparatus of Vietnam, as well as the country's external affairs policy and new achievements. He expressed his confidence that Vietnam and other countries will witness new breakthroughs in their cooperative ties for peace, development, and prosperity in the region and the world.
I value very much my participation here, so I rearranged my schedule so that I will be present during this program. I just arrived about 3 months ago, and I have been learning so much about your beautiful country, our neighbor from the Philippines, across the sea.
I have been here in Vietnam for more than 10 years. I opened our embassy in 2006, and since then I am still here. Well, I'm leaving soon, but we leave with a good souvenir from Vietnam.
The program not only helps international friends better understand Vietnam, but also calls for the support for the Southeast Asian nations' cause of national construction, defense, and development.
A seminar took place in Hanoi on June 2nd to gain an insight into late Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme's legacy in the relationship between Sweden and Vietnam.
The function was held on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of Olof Palme's passing and 47 years of bilateral ties. Participants analyzed the life, ideology, and career of Olof Palme, who served as Swedish Prime Minister from 1969 to 1976, and again from 1982 to 1986. He was strongly opposed to injustice around the globe and was beloved by people in Sweden as well as from other countries, including Vietnam. Sweden was the first Western country to provide non-refundable aid to Vietnam. That support was invaluable since it was given amidst the peak of the resistance war in Vietnam. Pierre Story, special envoy of the Swedish Prime Minister, said Olof Palme laid a solid foundation for the unique relationship between the two countries. Sweden will foster all-faceted cooperation with Vietnam in line with local people's demand and global development, he noted.
The Vietnam News Agency and Turkey's Anadolu Agency inked a new cooperation agreement on information exchange in Hanoi on June 2nd. The agreement, which replaces the 2007 Cooperation Agreement, was signed by Deputy General Director Lê Duy Truyền and his Anadolu counterpart, Mustafa Oskaya, in the presence of Turkish ambassador to Vietnam, Akif Ayhan. Under the document, the two sides will increase sharing photos and exchanging TV news, aside from the existing exchange of English language stories, to meet the growing demand of news updates in their respective nations. Speaking at the talks prior to the signing, Truyền said the enhanced news exchange and use can help the two agencies diversify stories and objectively report on regional and international issues, along with their country's domestic affairs. Mustafa Oskaya said the Vietnam News Agency is a big and important partner of his agency in Southeast Asia. He also thanked the agency for supporting Anadolu within activities of the Organization of Asia-Pacific News Agencies. An exhibition on Hoàng Sa, Paracel, and Trường Sa Spratly archipelagos opened in the northern province of Vĩnh Phúc on June 2nd.
Among the exhibits are official documents dating back to the Nguyen dynasty that runs for the 1802 to 1945 on the archipelago's geographical location and natural conditions, and documents from China and Western nations on Vietnam's sovereignty over the islands. Photos and paintings on the nation's seas and islands, as well as dozens of stamp collections, are also on display. The exhibition lasts until June the 6th.
The charming beauty of Vietnamese women in áo dài traditional dress provides endless inspirations for artists, including overseas Vietnamese painter Đặng Thông Tuyến. Tuyến, who has been living in Austria for nearly 30 years, opened his latest exhibition, Girl, Moon and Flowers, in Hanoi, with more than 30 paintings on the theme of women. Tuyến paintings represent the diversity, beauty of women, innocent, vital, charming, and mysterious.
In this exhibition, I want to show my love to my home country, Vietnamese people, lotus flowers, and green fields. My home country is always in my heart and is the inspiration of my paintings.
Born in 1955 in Vietnam, Tuyến graduated from Hanoi College of Industrial Fine Arts. He worked in commercial art for several years before moving to Vienna in 1989, where he did different jobs from jewelry designer to art lecturer, while pursuing his passion for painting. Tuyến paintings have been displayed in Austria, Germany, France, and Italy. Thousands of children and parents attended the first ever Children's Book Festival, which opened at Temple of Literature in Hanoi on June the 1st. Organized by the Hanoi People's Committee to celebrate International Children's Day, the event offers young audiences an opportunity to enjoy a variety of interesting books and meet with several talented authors. The 5-day festival aims to foster the fondness of learning in children, inspire a love for reading, and teach respect towards parents and teachers.
As both a writer of books for children and a mother, I'm very happy when we have exclusive playgrounds for children as the summer comes.
Besides taking part in storytelling contests, the children can also attend a photo exhibition featuring the life and work of President Ho Chi Minh through books being published by Kim Dong Publishing House, learn what it was like for children during wartime, and discover the country's history through various photos on display at the festival. On this occasion, the organizing committee launched a writing contest to look for 32 ambassadors for reading culture living in Hanoi. Students in primary and secondary school in the capital can take part in the contest by writing in Vietnamese or in English on the topic of their favorite books. And that has come to an end of our program. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.